All right. Happy Tuesday, Tumelo.
This side of the country, it's a Wednesday. Happy Wednesday, everyone.
Oh, yes.
Welcome to
Sorry.
the session where we keep everyone young. For those of you who will be having a look at this recording, thank you so much for having a view of this recording. Once again, without wasting time, if you need any assistance, please email us on i-set@uvisa.ac.za. We also have social media pages. I'll post it now on our chat box. And then without wasting time, I'll hand over to Casper. But oh, wait, thank you so much once again for our participants all over the country. We've got people from KZN, Mpumalanga, Limpopo, Free State, Northwest, you name it, Eastern Cape. Thank you so much for being part of us. Over to you, Casper.
Yeah, thank you very much, Tumelo. Yeah, I'm greeting you from a sunny, half-sunny Centurion here in Pretoria. So yeah, we only have a few small rules for today's session. We'd like to ask everyone to please mute your cameras to save data and bandwidth. Also to mute your microphones to keep all the background noise to a minimum. If anybody has a question at any point in time, please feel free to raise your hand or use the chat area if you have some mic problems. And all these recordings will be available on the iSet MOOC portal. Then over to you, Dr. Gous.
Thank you very much. Thank you, team. Yeah, I'm still busy drinking my tea, but it's fine. We're going to get there. I really am encouraged. Oops, I'll just put it down here. I really am encouraged with the discussions we were having in the previous session and yesterday in this session. And I really think it's important for us, as Tumelo said, it's about discussion, and it's about for the advancement of robotics and keeping us young. That's also okay. So yesterday at the end of the session, I see this sunlight is now shining in. So I don't know whether you can see me like that. Okay, so maybe that's a bit better. KK came up with a really cool idea about having sub competitions of the virtual gear competition, and we've kind of been toying with the idea, and we had some discussion. So for now, we've got two sub competitions. We've got the big virtual gear competition, which is on the M3, but there are two sub competitions, and the one sub competition, you can enter both. You see, the one sub competition is all girls teams, and we're going to have that for the Women's Day. So that's the Women's Day challenge, which I think is really exciting. All girls teams on Women's Day. That's the one sub competition. The other sub competition is what we want to try is having 67 seconds. So normally a competition round match will be 2 minutes, which is 120 seconds. But for Nelson Mandela Day on the 18th of July, we're going to see how many points you can score in 67 seconds. It's going to be, let's try it. Okay. And I hope, hopefully, and I said I think we need to enter our own competition, just have some fun. Okay, so that comes from discussion, from sharing, and we'll try it out and we'll evaluate it and see whether it's something to get other learners maybe involved. Maybe we have a workshop. Maybe we'll be able to go to campus by then, and we'll have a competition on campus. And then maybe we can do some tea and coffee. That'll be awesome. All right. So let's just continue with our sessions. So as Tumelo said, M3 has been published. And it's a different kind of MOOC because it's open till the end of November, and it includes a robotics competition. Okay. And so we're really looking to all teams to participate and it's a really fun one. It's called It's a Party. And what we found over the years is, with the one competition being delayed and the other competition then taking over. So let's just have something a little different. And on that note, if you'd like to join the working group who design these competitions, you're welcome. You're welcome. We have lots of ideas, but new ideas are always welcome. Okay, so let me go through the presentation and then hopefully we'll have a rich discussion afterwards. Okay. And as usual, I'm just asking whether you can see, this is the same. Can you see my screen? There we go. Yes. Tumelo, Cabello, Casper.
Yes, we can see your screen. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. So the whole thing with any competition that you're going to do with robotics. So right in the beginning, we just built a little robot and we did navigation. But as you moved up, you saw, you know, with the sensors, with the gearing, with the power attachments, you need to be able to identify what the actual challenges are. And linked to the challenges or the robotics challenges, there are tasks that the robot needs to do, but there's always risks and constraints. And obviously, usually the more complex the challenge, the higher the risks, the higher the constraints. Okay, so in all challenges, you need to be able to unpack. There's somebody's microphone that's not muted. All right. So we're kind of assuming you've done M1. So you've got the basics and you've got M2, which is the sensors and the power attachments. And now we come to M3, and this is now how we pull everything together. So how do you apply what you have learned up until now and pulling it together and then applying it properly to then engage in a robotics challenge? Okay. So we've done the preparation of a game strategy where you get everything down incrementally, and then to identify the problem, and then you've got to pull it all together to get to a game solution or game strategy. Okay. And then you need to be able to identify which are the tasks, which are the risks that you're willing to take, and what are your constraints when you consider your solutions or your possible solutions. All right. So here, this is what how we're going to lay out the session, but it's, we're going to just talk generally, and then we're going to apply each one of these to the current robotics challenge. Okay, so we will go there. But you must always remember that what you're doing in any challenge is we are developing problem-solving skills. We are developing 21st century skills. We're developing critical thinking. We're developing creativity. And I can say it does not come naturally. So this is why robotics takes time. Sometimes you need to just guide your learners, especially if you're an innovative coach. You do need to be able to guide your learners. They never work solo. They've always got to work in teams. They've always got to collaborate. And there must be some computational thinking towards iteratively towards a solution. All right. So whenever we start, we say, okay, so what is given? What is the list of missions? And I'm going to now show you what the list of missions are, what we have to solve, and then we can take it from there. So let's start with the first one. I think we'll go through all the missions just now. All right, so it always is, what is the problem? Well, the robot must complete, the overall problem is the robot must complete as many missions as possible to score points, okay? And where are we going? Well, we always have to start in base, and you're not allowed to touch the robot out of base. And what are some of the solutions? So on my continuum, there's always like there's a do nothing on the one hand, and then the other hand is do everything, all right? It kind of a reality for any robotics team is that the robot probably will not be able to do everything because there are too many risks. There's too many constraints. Okay. A good start, however, would be to say read the challenge document, which we're going to read now. I've got it open here. So you read the missions and define the problem. And a good word to start with is always the verb. What must the robot do? What is the doing word in each of these missions? Okay. All right. So when you define a game strategy, you have a problem and then you have requirements, and then you usually have to solve each part, and then you can combine them. Now, just because the missions are listed, mission 1, mission 2, mission 3, mission 4, mission 5, does not mean that you need to then do the solutions, mission 1, mission 2. No. You can maybe start and think, well, let's start with mission 5 and then do mission 4 and then combine 3 and 2 together, and then maybe not even do a mission as well. All right, that is your team's game strategy, and I really need to underline it, put it in bold, or whatever you want to do with it. Not all teams have the same game strategy. Okay, if you have a beginner team and their goal for their strategy is to score 50 points, then that is their strategy and that is what they're aiming for. And if they have a successful game strategy, they score the 50 points. All right. You might have a team that says we want to score 150 points. Then that is then they work out a game strategy to work out to get 150 points. If they can accomplish that, then they have been successful. All right. Every team has their own game strategy. All right. So the challenges of any robotics competition right up front is procrastination. And we don't know how to start. We don't know where to start. We don't know what to do. We don't know this. We don't know that. Just blooming start. Just start the process. Build and design a robot. What size? Well, it's got to fit into base. All right. So there's your size. It can get a little bit bigger. Can go up to about 40, I think it's 40 by 40 by 40 centimeters. But for now, you just need to build a robot. All right. Then you need to work out what attachments do I need? Can I get away with passive attachment? Or is there something that I need to grab? Okay, so we're going to have this discussion now. What about sensors? Do we actually need to have sensors? If so, can we move together? Can we find something that works together? Yeah. Okay. Right. But so from that, we need to say, what are the navigations? What are the attachments? What is the sensors in terms of programming? How do we go about for each of the missions? And so you have a list of requirements. So that's all the challenges. And we've unpacked the challenges. All right. Then we have tasks. And if I say it once, I say it again. If you have a list of missions that must be done, they must be divided. And you need to delegate. Tasks in a team need to be delegated, right? And the team members themselves must discuss and choose which are doing what missions. So if you have, say, 6 members in a team, you have maybe 2 groups of 3, all right? And then the first group will do mission 1, the next one will do mission 2, and the next one will do mission 3. That's what they've decided. Or they are 8 in a team, then there are 3 and 3 and 2, then 3 learners will do this mission, 3 learners, but that means they need to program and build for that mission, okay? And then you need to put them into order. Somewhere along the line, there needs to be an order. There must be an explicit order. And I usually have the COO member of the team. The COO member of the team is the chief calling out officer, okay? And you can shout as much as you like in a robotics competition, all right? But there must be somebody with a piece of paper that knows after these 2 learners have done this mission, then these 2 learners come forward and do this mission, and then that one does this mission. But the COO needs to have an explicit order of how we are going to score how many points in 120 seconds. Okay. Just as a kind of underneath, you need to document the progress. For learners to come every week, and 1 week after the other, they need to have visible progress. Okay, so whether you put it on a board or whatever, what I like to do is I like to keep the scoring sheets. Okay, and we run a match at the end of every practice and say, okay, at the end of this practice, we took 20 seconds to score 50 points. At the end of this match, we took 50 seconds to score 120 points. And so there must be, or just the scores even, just put the scores in. So week 1, we did 20, week 2, we did 40 points, week 3, we did 60 points, week 4, we went back to 40 points. Why did we slip down? Okay, what did we do? Put a big graph on the wall and just put points up and stickers up, but it must be visible. The learners must see that there is progress. Okay. Keep the scoring going. It's also good to keep the scoring sheets of your team as they go along, so they can actually have it documented. Okay, and that when they maybe have to explain to some judges, so how did you do this? How did you get this right? You can say, well, we worked very hard in week 1 and 2 and got the most of our points in the first 2 weeks. And then in the 3rd week, we really worked hard on this very difficult mission. And so We took more time but less points. And so it's documented, and that is a really good thing, rather than a hit and run. Also, you as a coach must not to take up too much responsibility. Let the learners do it. Let them be in charge of their own team. Okay. Now the risks. Now the risks, and I've got it here. The risk assessment, if you do a risk assessment, all the risks need to be listed. But it doesn't help listing all the risks if there's no ownership and delegation of responsibility. Okay, so there must be some mitigating strategies. Otherwise, your poor little robot is going to run into a whole lot of problems. Okay, so the biggest risk always is that the robot will run out of power. Okay, and you need to have either a power chief officer of power, or whatever you have, but somebody must be responsible to charge the robot before every practice session, and especially before a competition match. Okay, so somebody needs to put the robot on charge. Okay. The other risk is my little bane of contention, is the robot must be dropped. So you always walk. I should have the highlighted walk as well, with a robot in one hand, one under the robot, one on top of the robot, and you always walk. I have seen calamities where the teams are in a hurry. They run around a corner, they collide with some member of the public. The robot goes flying. There's major tears. The robot misses his robot run. The team gets disqualified. And you want to actually have good habits. So never walk with a robot in one hand. You always walk with a robot in two hands. All right. Maybe should be not never walk, but you always walk with a robot in two hands. Okay. And then the program. Man, my programs got lost. Well, no. You must always have yesterday's backups, and always have yesterday's backups not on the computer. So once you've finished and you shut down everything, just make a copy of it to a wearable these wearable USBs, or copy it to another directory or some, but you need to have yesterday's programs backed up somewhere. And I also label them. I rename them. I rename either the project or the directory. I give it a number, usually the month. So it's 20. So today will be 22, 2022, 03, the third month, 23. So this is the day. Programs that get lost are very soul destroying, especially if they worked very hard on the programs. Okay. Then missions are misunderstood, and I think this comes from where learners just start immediately and start programming these long programs, and then hope to goodness that it works, and then it doesn't work. It needs to be spoken about, it needs to be designed, it needs to be written down. Please get your learners to write down their programs before they even start. The programs must be well understood, well designed, and only then do you start incrementally developing your programs. All right. And then the last point, the risk. It's a huge risk. If you're going to let one player or one team member do all the programming, please don't ever. We always have a team approach. Divide and conquer, which is what we said right on the previous one, where you delegate. You have to delegate. And I've also said it before, I have seen teams internationally where one player did all, or one team member did all the programming. Well, it's great if you score points, but if that robot messes up and the team gets disqualified, that member that did all the programming is crucified, and that is not okay. This has to be a constructive learning experience, and no, it's not worth it. It's just not worth it. And it's also part of where the team as a whole learns to do conflict management, conflict resolution, what to do in a case of. So like the Hey That's Us team, if they had a what does it call it, a standstill where they couldn't agree on something, they put the robot on charge, go out for ice cream or get some tea or something, then think about it a little bit and then come back and then talk about it again. All right. Don't have heated debates. Don't have me and you and I conversations. Don't have my idea, your idea. It's about the robot at the end. All right. And the identification of risks is maybe you don't have a page that says these are our risks, but you need to start writing out what could go wrong. So if you call risks what could go wrong and mitigation, what can we do about it? That's also an option, especially for the younger children. And it's about ownership. It's about ownership. You want a team to be independent and self-sufficient. All right. Okay. So there's constraints. I mean, in life there's always constraints. The robot is limited in size, even when it's expanded, the absolute maximum size is given. There are only 120 seconds in 2 minutes. I'm sorry, that's just how life is, but that is one of those constraints. And the playing field is only so big. You cannot go off the playing field. And for this year, we've put a constraint. We've actually put, after 114 centimeters, you'll see there's actually a line that is the boundary of the field. All right. So in terms of the challenge, you do need to have time to collaborate. And we're going to do it now. I'll show you how we're going to do it. And you need to allocate each part to a group within a team. So I think the best thing would be to get a team first. Keep lots of documents. Have a file, have a folder, have a box, keep the pictures, keep the diagrams. It's all part of the learning that your team is doing together. And for this one, it's really fun because you can eat all the elements at the end. So yeah, it's different. All right. So what could go wrong? Well, you have to read the documentation of the missions, and we're going to read that through. And what are the constraints, and identify them. It's kind of like when you this slide I've shown it quite a few times, but I feel quite strongly about it. So is it all worth it? Like, have you learned? Have you got problem-solving skills? Yes, it's about trial and error, but that's the learning. That is where the learning through discovery is. All right. Strategy is pulling it all together. Can you successfully pull it all together? So we've done M1, we've done M2, and now we're on M3. Can you pull it together? We're going to go on. There's an M4, by the way. We're going to move on, but at this stage, where we are, we need to be able to pull it together. You need to be able to identify the risks, all right, and take ownership of it. You need to be able to share tasks with a smile on your face. And so tackle the challenges, adapt to the constraints, and persevere with optimism, precision, and practice. That is just what it is. It's very sad for me when teams of learners just don't bother coming to practice or come to work on their robot because everything's going wrong. Yeah. Like if they stay away, it'll all come better. No, you have a team, and the team has to have a strategy. And so you as the coach must be able to guide them kind of through this treacherous, stormy waters, and whatever it is. But you need to be able to give them the skills. And this is back to the top one, which is the problem-solving skills. You develop problem-solving skills. Don't overwhelm the learners, but don't give them the answers. Please don't give them the answers. All right. I want to see where this is one of my loud teams. Let me see where this is going. You see how they swap over? I take the challenge off. The next guy's got the next attachment. And then we have, that's the COO. Yeah, he likes to make the noise. He knows exactly what's going on. All right. Okay. This is another team. This was the very first virtual gear competition that we had in South Africa. Very organized. One part. I'll maybe have time for this for next time. I'll show you. But they have a well-oiled machine for one to the next. They know exactly what they're doing. All right. And so we've come to the end of the official presentation. I'd love for you to. You don't have to complete it and submit the assignment yet, but I would like you to work through it. So now I'm going to just. I want to just for us to have, now we're going to have a discussion. Okay, so I'm going to put up the missions I'm going to share my screen again. It's open here. All right. Cancel here. I don't know where that comes from. All right, is this visible to everybody? Everybody, is it fine? So just maybe in order, we've got to deliver the gift to 1. All right, the drink is 2. The sweet box is 3, the cup of sweetness is 4, and then the stack of delights is 5. So this is the new virtual gear challenge. All right.
It's like fun.
That's lots of fun. And we're going to eat lots of chocolate this year. That's for sure. Awesome. Okay, so let's have a look at the gift. We've got the gift is a full jelly box, which you can cover in any color, and we've got to deliver it into the rectangular margarine tub. Okay, so let's just look at it like this. Anybody want to kind of unmute themselves and say, what is at the top end of your thinking? How do we do this? Anybody? Anybody? We've got to take a full jelly box, which we've covered in a nice party. This is the party gift. And we've got to deliver it into the delivery box. Any ideas? How are we going to put it? Can we get this done with a passive attachment? Anybody ideas? Casper, is there anybody putting their hands up?
Well, yes. Yes, Gonga.
Would it work if, like, you put it on a tray or something on the robot so it can carry it to the place that it needs to go?
A tray on top of the robot.
Yes.
And how are we going to get it into the margarine container?
Well, wouldn't the tray could probably have something that can, I don't know, that can like lower it down, like bend it down, and then it will slide into the margarine tub.
Awesome. So you're thinking, I can see it. You are thinking where the one that's got a trigger, a pivot point trigger. Yes, yes, very good idea. Okay, so there we've got one idea, a passive attachment, loading the gift on top of the robot and then triggering it in. That could work. That could work. Anybody else? Anybody has a powered attachment option? Anybody? Another one that could work is oh, maybe I shouldn't say. No. Okay. Okay, we'll come back to this discussion now. Thank you very much. The passive attachment could definitely work. All right. Oh, where's the gift? Oh, hang on a minute. That number's wrong. Okay. Ha! Hang on a minute. Oh, these numbers are wrong. Okay, hang on a minute. Oopsie. Okay. I'll update a new word. I think I've just got the arrows wrong here. Oh my goodness. Didn't check that. Let me just take a picture of it. All right. Okay, but I'll confirm where the gift must be delivered because it must not be delivered there. It must be delivered over here. Here we go. Okay, I'll change that. All right, time for a drink. We've got a 200 milliliter juice box on its side. And it must be in an upright standing position. How do you think we're going to do that? How do we turn a juice box? Anybody? Anybody?
What about if we take it from base, no, from the mat, take it back to base and then send it out to where it must be?
Okay, let's see what the constraints say. It says that we must take the juice box on its side, either parallel or perpendicular to the edge of the field in position marked on the field. Okay, and is to turn the juice box into an upright standing position. So, do you want to take it upright?
Yes, yes, that's what I'm thinking of. If we take it from, yeah.
So you're going to have to hold it in an upright position if you take it from base.
Yes.
So there's a risk. If you're just going to push it, there's a risk, remember?
Yes.
And the risk is if you go too fast, it's going to push it over.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a problem. Okay, Casper, is there anybody else with their hands up?
Yes, we have one from Bonga.
Yes, Bonga, what do you think?
Would making like a crane type, like you see like a claw machine type hook at the top, so it can like raise it upright, sort of a crane, and pick it up, and then go, like you can, because that could also help when like moving the box also into the margarine type, instead of, yeah, it could do 2 in 1 if you have a crane type machine that can just pick it up and then transport it anywhere. It also can lift the juice box in an upright manner.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. All right. So there's a crane option. So there's a crane option. The one, okay. Let's work on that one. So there's a crane. I'm making notes here as we're going along. So there's the crane option. All right. The third one is a sweet box. Now listen to this. You've got an egg box. Okay, it's a half a dozen egg box. All right. And you've got 12 individually wrapped sweets, but only 6 sweets can score. So you can eat the other 6. All right. You've got to put the sweets into, so 1 sweet into each of the egg containers. Any ideas? How would you get sweets into an egg box, into all the right spaces? And you can't take the half a dozen egg box back to base because you stick it down with press stick. So sorry. Any ideas? Oh, it does say there. Oh, you see, there's a constraint. It said it may not be thrown again. No sweets may be picked up to be used and thrown again. So once we've thrown it, that's it. We can only carry or control 2 sweets at a time. 10 points are bonus. Well, that's awesome. If you have a complete row of 3 sweets in the egg spaces. Okay. So what do you think? Anybody? How do we get sweets into an egg container? We'll need to have some way. I wonder how a conveyor belt would work. Or do we just throw it ad hoc and hope for the best? I don't know. Yeah, it's quite far. It's in the corner there. What about a conveyor belt with the 6 sweets in, and then you turn every you have to have some spacing on it. Yeah, everybody thinking. Not many. Are there anybody's hands going up there, Casper?
No, not yet, Dr. Gous.
Not yet. Right. So here's one of the risks. The risk is that you run out of sweets before you can score. Where you try and you've got 12 sweets to score with, and you've used up all 12, and none of them have scored. So that's a problem. And the other problem is that is the furthest position from the base. So it's going to take you the longest to get to the base. So that is a problem. Okay.
Dr. Gous, we have a hand from Bonga again.
Oh, okay, Bonga, you're on a roll here. Yes.
Can I ask, Kit, is like, must the robot stay in the base square and not like cross over? Or so it can walk over or move over to the edge of the...
Yes.
Okay.
So it can move. If you load up the sweets onto the robot, it can move from base, kind of there where the green arrow is. It can go right up to the egg container. Yeah. So I'm wondering whether your tray version might not even work there as well. That could work. I'm just thinking. Going to be some interesting designs here for this thing. And obviously, as one of the risks is, if you're going to travel, you've got to travel as quick as possible, because you've got to complete it at least 3 times to score with 6 sweets, because you can only take 2 sweets at a time. All right. Okay, I'm waiting for some great designs here. Okay. All right, next one.
Sorry, Dr. Holmes.
Yes, hi, KK.
How are you? Just on that one, before you move to the next one.
Sorry,
So
KK, you missed
Yes,
the
Dr.
announcement. You missed the announcement. Right in the beginning, I said we've got a all-girls competition on the 9th of August.
Yay!
And we've got a 60, how many points can you score in 67 seconds for Nelson Mandela Day on the 18th of July? How's that?
That sounds great. Well done. I'm glad
Right,
we're making progress. I can't wait. Can't wait to tell Kate. Okay, so on the scoring for with regards to the sweets,
Yes.
are we moving them from the base or where are we collecting them?
The 12 sweets are in base.
Oh, they're in base. So I was going to suggest a rack and pinion kind of like mechanism to put the 2 sweets inside. So when it gets to where it needs to drop them off in a box, it sort of moves the mechanism to drop it. In that way, it's guaranteed accuracy. I hope I'm making sense.
Yes, yes, very good. Rack and pinion. Wow, yes. Great stuff. Yes, that'll work. But then you've got to be pretty precise of where you're going to. The rack must be over the hole. Yes.
Yes, more. Have you seen how spike sorter works? You know, the basic spike sorter that we get on the app,
Yes.
how it works.
Yes.
I'll use that type of mechanism to ensure that it drops nicely, but I'll just need to have a lift mechanism so that it's right into the box.
Okay. 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 Show us. That'll be awesome. Says, I like these designs that are coming out here now. Absolutely. All right. All right. Next one. Here's a cup of sweeteners. You've got a cup. And in the cup is a packet of sweets. Okay. I think it's important that it's full and sealed for now. I don't know how long ago. All right. So you must take the whole cup to this position here. Any ideas? Any ideas? Take a whole cup to there.
That's easy.
Easy. Okay.
Use a gripper to grab it and then carry it there.
Awesome. So then we take a gripper. You see how easy these topics, look how quickly we're solving these problems. Have you noticed? Excellent. I'm proud of us. All right. And last but not least, let's have a look here. So now we've got the stack of delights. We've got to put 3 slabs of chocolate on top of each other. How do we do that? Without the chocolate sliding off. Anybody got any idea?
Now that's a difficult one.
Okay, so here, this is where the chocolates are. 1 slab at a time. How do you put 3 slabs of chocolate on top of each other? You just throw them. Anybody? Are there anybody's hands up?
No, not yet, Dr. Host, but I maybe have an idea. So we have to take one, come back and put one on top of that one, correct?
Yes. Yes.
I'll suggest a gripper.
Also a gripper.
Yeah, for this one, I'll suggest a gripper.
I was going to use a forklift.
A forklift, okay. And the gripper goes left to right or up and down?
I would say left and right one. Okay, I see we have also a hand from Bonga.
Hi, Bonga.
Yes, you can also use a forklift. I was going to say a forklift because it can pick it up from the ground more and then transport it to the place.
Okay, all right. So now we've got you see, we're going to have to test this now. One of the things of a chocolate is that it is quite heavy. All right.
Just hypothesizing now at the moment.
You what?
Sure.
We're making hypothesis.
Dr. Hoss, what do you call that attachment where you box things, like you in-house them, you box them? But now the thing is, you can't take all of them at once and go and stack them.
No, that's the problem. That's the problem.
So that, but what do you call that attachment with the boxer? I don't know what to call it. Sorry.
Where you what as a passive attachment?
As a powered attachment, it's like it houses things, it boxes them. Okay, I'll find it and try that and see if it works.
Okay.
It's got some sort of a forklift mechanism, but if you look at the front, it doesn't allow your objects to actually slide to the other side. So you have to build a forklift, okay, that will just lift the slab. But in the front of your row, you should make sure that it doesn't slip.
Yeah.
So it's like a forklift, but with is like a box, so it houses it. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now there is a box. There is a box attachment under passive attachment. So you push the box.
You're not allowed to push all of them at once. That's the thing.
No, you're only allowed that. You're only allowed one. You're only allowed to have one in transit at a time.
Okay, some creativity is going to happen here.
Yeah, ne? Yeah, ne? All right. So, okay. So then for the fun part, there's a party parade. This is not for part of the challenge, but the party parade says you've got to get a hat or make a hat onto the robot. Okay. You may not use glitter or decorations because it mustn't interfere with the robot. Okay. And then the robot has got to follow the line from position 1 to position 5 and then back to base whilst wearing the party hat. That's easy. Yes? So all you have is a color sensor. Yes? And it's got to follow the black line from position 1 to position 5 and then go back into base. So it starts in base, goes to position 1 to position 5, back into base, and it's got to wear the hat. Okay. That's easy part. The risk involved here is A, that the hat falls off the robot and the robot drives into the hat. The other one is that the robot goes so slowly that you use up all your points. Or your seconds. So it gets no points. If it doesn't get back to base, you don't get any of these points. You see, it's got 30 points. Okay. Oh, there's actually 10 points for reaching position 5. Yay. Okay, and then a whole 20 points if you go the whole line and return to base. So there's some, and then you get 10 bonus points if the hat actually remains on the robot for the whole mission. Okay, so they do reward you if you've got the hat on and if you get back to base, but there is risk involved, although it might not seem as that. Okay, it's one thing putting your hat on a robot; it's another thing that the hat actually stays on the robot. Okay, but it doesn't say. See that a party hat can be made of a cone of a rolled up paper. It doesn't say it cannot. It only says you cannot use glitter. That's all it says. All right. Okay, so that is as straightforward how we unpack the challenge of a robot challenge or the missions of a robot challenge. Okay, there we go. Let's stop sharing and let's hear your comments. I see we are just about out of time again. Anybody got any comments? How doable is it? How easy is it? How does it seem? So if you look at it, first of all, from a learning perspective, you can do each of the missions. Can you see that? You can do each of the missions separately. Okay. And you can do each of the missions multiple ways, because now we've already had this discussion. So you can do just a normal passive attachment. It might be a little bit more risky, but there's a passive attachment version. There's always a powered attachment version. Okay, and then the strategy for your team then is to say, we can do this mission and this mission guaranteed, and we get so many points in 120 seconds. And that's where you time it. If you can improve it, how many more missions can you get into the 120 seconds? And can we do all the missions within the 120 seconds? It's going to be a bit tight. We're going to start uploading example videos as we go along as well. But for now, we are actually looking to the teams to unpack this. And so, KK, if you're going to do this now in the school holidays with your team, that'll be great. Please send out some videos, even if it's initial videos of what works and maybe what doesn't work. We'd love to see what doesn't work. If you look on the videos of last year for Gone Tubing, you will see there are a lot of videos that say what doesn't work. And so we're going to set up a page with all the URLs, a Spike Prime URL and a EV3 document with the URLs put into it. And so if you've got any really cool ideas, what does work and what doesn't work, then we can add it there as well. And this is part of learning. This is part of engaging and accessible. We're going to use all these missions in our workshops as well as part of our awareness workshops. So just for the fun of it, and let's see what happens. And then we'll also share some videos to see how our workshops handle all these challenges. Okay, anybody got any last thoughts? That went very well. The brainstorming went very well, by the way, very well. Yes, Eric.
I've just got a comment. My experience is with Spike Prime and in M2, and what's going to be critical, I think, is the robot you build. Because I noticed with Spike Prime, some of the robots, like if you did a thing with a mechanical arm, that was a great robot for that. But now if you want to solve another mission, which is slightly different, you need a different robot, you know, or a different attachment, or anyway, I'm just.
Yeah, no, you're quite right, Eric. And that is where if you have multiple powered attachments, then you use the dog gear. So the dog gear allows, I just don't have my robots with me, but the dog gear allows you to attach a powered attachment and to detach a powered attachment. I think you've seen Mario, my robot. It's got two powered attachment or gear, dog gear places. And so the powered attachments actually fit onto the front of it, and that whole attachment comes off, and then there's another powered attachment.
Which is not easy with Spike Prime. You saw my video of the test I did
yes.
on the dog gear.
Yes.
It's not so easy.
Yes.
Anyway, I'm just making this comment.
No, that's fine. It's good, and we need to have this conversation. So maybe going forward, we need to investigate how do you have a dog gear for Spike Prime that works as effectively and as efficiently as the EV3 dog gear.
I can see for this challenge, I think the winner is going to be somebody who comes up with a clever robot that can do various things. And in Spike Prime, yeah, that's the way I think about it.
Yeah, no, for sure. And so there's lots of categories as well. We've actually opened this competition as an open category. Any robotics kit will go. So there's open and global, local and global. Local is for primary school teams that have never participated in a competition with either a Spike or an EV3. And global is then for all the school teams with either EV3 or Spike. And then there's an open category, kind of any robotics kit, any programming, any age. It's the any age that counts, actually. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, but you're quite right. You're quite right. And it'll be good to see how different robots perform. Yeah. Awesome. But the dog gear has been raised a couple of times, so I will investigate that one. Okay. Awesome. Okay, KK, yes.
I just wanted to say to Eric that maybe what you can try is the moving wall, because it's got the dock gears, and then it allows you to use your rack and pinions as well. So it's got the upwards and downwards movement, left and right. So any attachment you put in the robot, then it's easier to work with. We've tried it on the EV3 for the virtual gear competition, and it was quite great. However, we also noticed that Spike is more powerful than EV3 in terms of speed. So with the EV3, we were more stable. We could get to score more points. With Spike, which was more faster in doing a lot more rounds, they accomplished less points than the EV3. So it will be interesting because I've asked the guys to try and convert the whole concept of the moving wall from the EV3 and try and do it with Spike and see if that will actually work. So maybe you can just Google that, the moving wall, EV3 or Spike. Thanks.
Is the moving wall is the
That's a good
moving
idea.
wall available for Spike?
Yes, I have seen a design out there.
Okay,
So it's
let's
worth
give it a back.
investigating.
Yeah, that'll be awesome. That'll be great. Thanks for that, KK. But you let your new baby teams just do a normal Riley Rover, hey?
Yes. Yeah, no, there's always different robots with different teams, but
Yes.
we've got a very strong technical team. So some of the young kids are now they're in a holiday program. What they're doing is they're just doing their engineering designs process. So
Okay.
that helps a lot with coming up with cool robots. So there's a specific
Yes.
team for that, and then the other kids just get to learn the basics. It's the girls that are really struggling. We've only identified one strong, technical builder, and then the rest they sort of want to follow, and we try and mix them with the boys, but then they sort of not want to do anything that has to do with building. So now it's girls versus boys to try and enhance their capability of building. I'm also not technically strong and using my hands, but I'm more of a strategist. But because I read a lot of theory, and that Constructopedia document, I don't know if it's called that.
Yes,
Very
Constructopedia.
Yes, it's a very important tool because whenever they do their builds, I always relate to that document,
Yeah.
and then I'm able to change the way they think, because I'll be
Yeah.
like, why don't you mix this? And they're like, yeah, but we never see you building. Where's your robot? And I'm like, it's because I'm scared that if I build, no one would want to be part of my team because I'm that cool. We make a joke about it.
I think we need to have, on Women's Day, we need to have the older girls against the younger girls then.
Yeah, no, this year's my focus for this year is also on my building, because I have to encourage the girls and build with them. So we're struggling, but we're getting there. But when it comes to strategy, they know. The girls win.
Excellent. So everybody's strategy will obviously to be get as many points as possible in as few as seconds, or as 120 seconds. Yeah, no, that's good. But we will explore. Maybe we'll do an M3 session. What are we now? In March, April, May. So maybe in June, just before the holidays, we'll go to do another M3 then. And we'll kind of see how far we've got and where we are. Yes. And then I'd love to hear your input on all the topics of challenge, of risk, of requirements, and of brainstorming. All right. I really want to thank you. This has been a really cool session. Thank you for your contributions. Thank you to everybody who made this session possible. I really enjoyed it. I really, and this is what building community is all about, is having engagement, online engagement. Absolutely. All right. I see we've come to the end of our time. So Cabello, would you like to close our session for us?
Cabello is not available. So I'll take over from here.
Okay.
Thank you so
All right.
much,
Thank you,
gentlemen and ladies, for being part of today's session. Like I said, you can connect with us all over the country, anywhere, even in the continent or the world. We really appreciate your time and your questions. Please don't hesitate to email us on i-set@unisat.ac.za. For those of you who just watched this recording, thank you so much once again for that. Please note that tomorrow we've got our last session for the week. Otherwise, it's a happy Wednesday. Thank you so much. Have a lovely one.
Awesome. Thank you a lot. Have lots of fun with the party. I'm thinking we're going to have quite a lot of help for the next virtual gear challenge. I'm thinking that. Hey. All right. Thank you, everybody, and we will see each other tomorrow then. Same time, same place. Okay. Bye-bye.